Good day everyone, this is Ginger One Yummy. I'll be showing you how to play code talkers. Let's see what the first cards of the deck we get are. So we got Link Slayer, Nightmare Corruptor Iblis, Cynic Codec, Full Mud Skipper, and Parallel Exceed. Okay, very good. And we can go full combo with this hand. Starting off, we activate Cynic Codec and then special summon Link Slayer. And with Link Slayer, it's not, you mustn't control no card, it's if you control no monsters, you can special summon this card. Next, we normal summon Nightmare Corruptor Iblis. So going into this, we'll show you the first Link card we go in. These are all our Link monsters. And we're going into the Link to Code Talker. So Link summon, chain 1 the codec, and then chain 2 Iblis. Because we have Parallel Exceed, that will be chain 3, but the thing is, after Iblis, our opponent gets a chance to play a hand trap. If they don't have a hand trap, this becomes chain 3. So chain 3 goes off, Parallel Exceed, chain 2, Iblis goes to our opponent's field in defense position, and then we get to search Microcoder, which was at the bottom of the deck. New chain, Parallel Exceed on the field to special a second copy of itself from the deck. We specialing the second Parallel Exceed like always. And this, you may think we should link someone using micro. However, we're not gonna do that. We're first gonna link someone using Code Talker and Parallel Exceed. And here's one. Link 3 transcode. Chain 1 codec. Do we have anything else to chain? No, we do not. So just chain 1 codec. Let's see if they have a response. Because normally people play Ash Blossom. I mean, you can play Joel, but that's not always gonna help because my deck can play around Joel in ways. So let's see. Off the search, you want to get generator. Now here's where a choke point comes in, where if we didn't have this Parallel Exceed, we won't be able to play if our opponent negates transcode. So we activate transcode. If they are good, it technically does stop the effect, because transcode would be in the graveyard when the effect resolves. And he has to point to his zone. He's not pointing to his zone if he's in grave. So with transcode, you bring back the enemy Link 2. We bring back Code Talker. And this is where we go to use either micro code generator. Preferably for me, you use micro in this situation because of added search. So Link summon using micro. And we go into Xcode. For this, we chain 1 codec, chain 2 micro, chain 3 Xcode. This Xcode blocks the zone transcode is pointing to, because when you link, you're going to have a link 1 pointing down like that, and the only zone that would make your opponent be able to link someone into is the zone transcode pointing to, where even if you put Iblis in the zone transcode pointing to, it still makes it so your opponent can still link summon. So I have these. I normally place them face down, but instead we're going to use a glue stick. That's right there. And then off micro, we will search a Cynic Spell Shop. In this case, we're searching conflict because we could search optimization for the extra normal, but I don't believe we will need the extra normal, and then off codec we search a wind. We already played Parallel Exceed, that means the only wind monster we have in the deck is Linking Firefly, so we search that. Next we link summon the parallel and code generator off. In this case, for inverted, for this, chain 1 inverted, chain 2 codec, and chain 3 generator. The reason you do it in that order is normally, often, inverted specials a Cybers monster from hand, and normally I don't actually have the Cybers monster in hand that I want to special. In this case I do, but I'm doing it just to be safe. And the reason generators chain 3 is, if they have Ash, this baits the Ash. So off generator you send Dotscaper, he's pretty much the obvious one. Off codec you search any light monster that's easy special, something like converter, so we'll just add converter. And then off inverted just special summon format skipper, since we can't special summon him without inverted. Then off Dotscaper in the new chain, Dotscaper comes back. Then we go link 2. Into Splash Mage. Now here we do get a search or format skipper's effect. So he'll go off and we will search a level 5 or higher Cybers monster. Now because we pretty much had Parallel Exceed to start with, we're gonna search that Shiri because he can give our Link 4's protection. Ooh, shit, no. I did an oopsie there where I pulled my hand way too fast and that knocked over the tripod a bit. Don't worry, got it back. Flash Mage effect. Bring back any Cybers monster because you won't have its effect because you would have already used it. So we bring back Dot because I mean Link 1's our best. Next we normally go for Avamax in this situation, but because we already used Parallel Exceed, we're not going to do that. In short, what we're going to do instead is we're linking the Splash and Dot off for shooting code. Off codec we search Watson. In this situation we normally search Scriptron, but we're gonna search C Archiver because in this situation we don't actually need Scriptron because we already have the Get Shiri and we actually refilled our hand of searches, so that's cool. Get Shiri, negate the shooting code special. The reason I negated the shooting code is we don't actually keep shooting code on the field because of the U-Link, and we normally just keep it because it searches our water monsters, and the water Cybers monsters that are just generic are very good to begin with. After this we will link into our only interruption card, which is Firewall Dragon. So link form. In this situation, Get Shiri's effect goes off and we will use it on Firewall Dragon. This makes it so our opponent's card effects and stuff won't affect Firewall Dragon until they're in phase. Next we special Linking Firefly. Because we special Kazana Link monster points to, we special C Archiver. In this situation we normally would try and make update Jammer to go into Avamax, but we're not going second, so that's not what we're gonna do. Instead we're going to link the C Archiver off for Salamandrake Bear Links, where we're going to chain 1 Bear Links and then chain 2 Firewall. The reason I'm doing that is because even though Converter has its own special summon effect, this is to stop Ash from stopping us from searching Sanctuary. So there's the Sanctuary. I do know of there being ultra-res, I just don't have the ultra-res sanctuary. And then on firewall we special the converter. Well, technically we would special that first, but this is just me showing you how the deck works. So what we could do with these is we can link for into access code, except the reason I'm not going to do that is because one, it's pretty much baiting out anything that they could use against access code to make access code useless. So instead I'm going to link to these off into update to give firewall 3 bounces instead of 2, which we normally have. We will activate sanctuary and then we'll set 1. And that's our going first board. So this is normally what we normally end with a board with Avromax in the middle going first, and we don't normally do this. However, because we pretty much utilized parallel exceed of code talker, we pretty much decided it's pretty much better not to go into 2 link 4s. So, and then we also have the 3 bounce and the conflict. So let's begin with our next play. Let's reshuffle everything and let's see what we get when we try going second. Let's see our going second hand. Now normally when we're going second we can easily just go code talker splash mage update into access, one of those ways. We normally don't use inverted to go into access. So let's see, so we got the Ibli, the debug, the crossword, codec and format. This could be better, especially because we do play hand traps and we didn't open it. Now this would be waiting for our opponent. If our opponent bricks, this is actually a good hand because we won't go full combo with this hand. However, we will actually try and go for avoiding link summoning code talk at this point because we just don't search micro or lady debug, we search it off codec instead. So let's start. Let's see what our 6th card is. Our 6th card is gadget. That means we've opened 4 cards that we can only normal summon, and one of them is a searcher. So we'll start with activating codec in this situation. And then normal summon Lady Debug. Off Lady Debug we will search pretty much anything that isn't dark, because we do need the dark search of codec. So what I'm going for is secretary, just because. We then special secretary. In this situation we will link to this off. And normally we would go for splash mage first, but because we open just a lot of normal summons, we're going code talker. Off Sonic Codec we search. This is under the assumption our opponent bricks and none of the bricks on any hand traps, it's just spell traps or monsters they cannot use. We add micro. Then we link off using code talk and micro. into transcode. Now in this situation, we go on codec macro. Macro, instead of searching conflict, because we won't be able to use it because we tend to try and go for the OTK, we're going to search optimization. Here we go, optimization. Now in this situation, Nightmaker up the Ibli is kind of useless because going first, it's a god tier card. But going second with nothing really playable, pretty bad. Transcode effect, get a second, get code took back. Activate optimization, use optimization to give ourselves an additional normal. We'll normal summon gadget, not only because when it leaves we get a token, but because it actually kinda gives us 3 monsters. The token itself and the monster it resurrects. So gadget resurrects microcoder. And it only resurrects level 2 or lower monsters. And this is any level 2 or lower monster, it's not specific type. This is best used in Cybers because, well, Cybers just know how to abuse this card specifically. After that, what we're going to do is we're going to link gadget and code off because we want the extra body that gadget generates. For Xcode, in this situation we go codec, gadget. We won't use Xcode because at this point it's pretty useless as well to use that effect. So gadget gets token, and then off this we get any win search. It really doesn't matter, it can be parallel, it could be link. I'm going to go with link in Firefly since at this point we're going to try and go for the OTK. Next we link these two off. And in this situation we're linking them off. For Splash Mage or Splash Mage, we just resurrect anything we won't get as effect. In this, we just special link to Lincoln Profile, and I keep knocking this over like a damn idiot. In this situation, we've got two. God damn it! We've got 2 options. We've got the go shooting code, or we go into access code instantly. My preferred method is go shooting code, but also overextension. So in this I'm going to just link shooting code, and I'm not going to be activating codec anymore because I'm trying to minimize how much I have to summon just so I can get the win. And then off that we link for access code. And the reason I do it that way is so access code gets 5-8 attack rather than 4-8. You may say, wait, 5-8? Yeah, X code is boosting access code by 500. You can't be destroyed by card effects, so best effects to use on access code on summon are ones that like just negate. If access code was co-linked with transcode, access code can't be targeted. And in this situation we just use access code to banish anything like that if they have set cards, but let's assume they don't and they just pass with an empty board. In this situation, this is all we need to win, and in some situations, this is all we need to win. So, really, our going second board is just to try and OTK, our going first board is to ensure our opponent can't play. And now I'm just gonna go with boards I generally do just for shits and giggles. So these are gonna be just opening any cards, but I'm not gonna go full combo. I'm just gonna go with a board just because I can, and I've done these boards a lot in Master Duel just for shits and giggles, and they've turned out very well for me, mostly because I open conflict and inpum. Now if you're going with a Ulink, I suggest doing the version of the Ulink I do where it's just you don't just go complicated stuff, you just keep it simple. So let's see what we get just off a fun board. So micro and codec format, Ash Blossom, which is good, but unless they gamma us, this is useless, and input. And this is interesting because we only have 2 cards that are actually playable that are monsters, and codec, which is a good hand. And normally when I open this kind of hand traps, I can't go full combo. But with these 2 and this, I can go full combo. So first we will, like always, activate codec. It does nothing upon activation, just to remind you. In normal summon format skipper. Now in this situation, we won't be using format skipper to make it the link requirement for a link monster, because the only card that it could be used for that target is update jammer, and we never have this when we're going for update jammer. Next we link, and this is where we just refill our hand because we're gonna get 3 searches. So there we go. So chain 1 codec, chain 2 micro, chain 3 format. In this situation, we search optimization, non-maker update Ibli, and all format. It can be any of the level 5 or higher cybers. And the one I prefer to go for is get Shiri at Ignista. So starting off, activate optimization, use optimization for additional normal Ibli. You can do a thing where you wait until you get access code, but by that point your opponent has the chance to play Nibiru, and you don't want that to happen. In this we link tree, transcode, then Ibli and codec activate. We go generator again, activate transcode, bring back code, activate Gatsuri, negate code special, link tree, Xcode, chain 1, 2, 3, Xcode like always blocks it on, but I'm using a glue stick this time, not my own card. And this time we will, instead of sending dot, we'll send C archiver just for the fun plays and not going full combo. And then off X being targeted by Sonic codec, let's just get linking for a fly. Why not? Then what we do is we special summon linking for a fly. That triggers C archiver to special summon. And in this case, instead of going inverted because we can't use its effect, we go link 2 of these 2. C archive is banished. Splash mage, effective splash mage, bring back anything, and then link 4. Firewall dragon, and then Gatsuri will just, at this point, Gatsuri target Xcode. The reason I don't do it on firewall is firewall already has the destruction protection because of Xcode. Xcode is the only one without it. This just makes X code immune to my opponent's card effects, so they can't destroy it. And then we just set the end perm and see what our opponent do. Now, if it comes back to us and Ash is engraved, it means we've ashed someone. It's also likely we've in-permed someone. So let's see what we get to finish the board now. Scripton. Unfortunately, Dodgescape is not engraved to use, but that doesn't mean Scripton is useless. We use Scripton. Let's say we banish Micro, because what we're doing is ensuring that Scripton will shuffle one of our banished cybers, and we want to shuffle back one of our searches. We get that, and then here's where we're going to make it interesting. Link form of Xcode and Scriptons for access code. Chain 1 codec, chain 2 Scripton, chain 3 access. The reason that order is you can respond to your own access's effect, but your opponent can't respond to your access code's effect. So you would use this last to ensure that your opponent can't do a fucking thing about the search or even just shuffling the card back. This is to ensure your opponent can't use any effects in response to access code being summoned. So shuffle back the Micro, and then it's likely we search the Micro, so fuck it, let's just add it to hand. And then, because Ninemaker up to Ibli is on their field, Fire will bounce it back to hand. Don't destroy it off access code, because one thing you can do is you bounce it back to your hand off Firewall, then off optimization you bring it back, or if off the normal summon you haven't used, you bring it back. Link, and you can use microcoder to link into anything. Preferably I won't go inverted. The better option is update at this point. However, it really doesn't matter anymore, because we do have gamer if they don't have a field. And if they do, if they only cause a back row, we do have removal, which is code / Xcode banish off access to pop 3. And yeah, now one thing I would like to mention is I'm going to go over choke points now. So in this point, and choke points are just essentially any time you can stop me playing. So let's say the first choke point is transcode talker with code talker engraved, but I don't have a playable card in hand, and I don't have monsters on field. If you ogre this, it essentially becomes your turn if this gets ogred, because there's nothing I can do to recover the board. The next choke point actually does involve the normal summon, because why not? And that's if we normal summon Lady Debug and the only other cards in our hands are hand traps or spells and traps we can't utilize for the combo. Uvela, Ash, or just any sort of monster negation on Lady Debug, yeah, that will stop it. Another way to choke point is if we do get codec and we do then activate Lady Debug and you draw. That's it, you've minimized what we can do. And that can be a choke for us as well. Another choke point we do have is actually an interesting one, because it does involve parallel exceed in a way, where what can happen is after we summon all the copies of parallel exceed, you just nib us, because at that point we then lose our entire board. In terms of a choke point using access code, the best way to handle that is just to stop the splash mage effect, because normally we go splash mage and then we use whatever we have to go update, and then we go into access. The alternative way is wait for access effect to resolve and then hit it with a forbidden spell card. That way we lose the ability to use access code Talker's effect, and you do give us a benefit, but we don't have game at that point. Another choke point I think people overlook, and this is an interesting choke point, is you Nibiru the Mech Knight while we have Avromax on the field, and then after we get this on field, you nib, we send to grave, we shuffle a card on your field back to the deck. If nib's the only card, that's our only option to shuffle back. If not, we'll shuffle back one of the other monsters that probably is immune to nib. But if it's immune to nib, it's normally also immune to Avromax, so normally it's just nib we're shuffling back. And after that, we don't really have a use for the token unless Gatshiri targets the token to make it immune to anything our opponent can do. Because the thing with Gatshiri is it doesn't target a specific type of monster, it just targets a monster to make immune to monster or card effects. And that's a really good effect in my opinion. It could be used in any deck. It's just most used in Cybers decks because Cybers can search Gatshiri out pretty fucking easily. That's been me showing you how to play Code Talkers. Please like and subscribe, and I'll do you guys later.